Today I'm going to take you through my most recent shoulder workout. Now I would have liked to have waited till I was at 100% so I could throw up some impressive weights and amaze you all with my incredible strength, but that's not going to happen. First I'm going to warm up very thoroughly with a little giant set with some nice weights. I'm just trying to get some blood into those shoulders, warm things up, get all the tendons and ligaments and everything else that goes on in that little shoulder socket ready for what is heavy for me at the moment. In the lead up to the Arnold Classic, I tore my supraspinatus. It wasn't to the point where I was going under the knife or anything like that, but it was a reasonably severe injury. I couldn't brush my teeth, I couldn't sleep on that shoulder, and I couldn't really train chest or shoulders for almost 2 months. But I'm still, in a way, coming back from that injury. My training is designed to minimise aggravating existing injuries to my shoulder and my dodgy elbows, with a view to still building muscle and obviously a view to getting back to some heavy training, because as everyone knows, heavy training is what builds muscle best. So I'm starting off with a seated dumbbell side raise. I try to keep a fairly constant tension on. You'll see as soon as the dumbbells get down to my sides, I try and return it back to that top position. I don't reset or anything. I try to get to shoulder height, keeping my elbows and wrists level. You'll see the last couple of reps that I'm not quite getting there, and I start to use a little bit of body rock just to get a little bit more out of that set. From there, I do a few working sets on all of these, but for the sake of keeping the video a decent length, I'll just show one working set. From there, I go on to a incline press on the Smith machine. Now, I like the Smith machine because I can start the movement at the top. I can just unrack the bar with my arms almost straight, which takes a lot of pressure off my shoulders. And I like it at doing a reasonably steep incline. Again, a bit safer on the shoulder joint, but I feel that it works my front delts just as well. My rep range is up probably 15 to 20 is where I aim to fail on that one. Again, it'd be nice to go much heavier, and if you do have the capacity to go heavy without any issues, I'd suggest you do keep it down that sort of 6 to 10 rep range. From there, I do a little superset. I like to absolutely flush my muscles with blood and build up all those metabolic byproducts with a view to obviously building some muscle in a way that's a little bit different to the progressive overload mechanical tension approach. So I do this seated side raise, and I finish off with a few little partial reps just to get a little bit more out of the movement, and then I jump straight onto this seated shoulder press machine. And again, I'm up fairly high, I think up around 15 to 20 reps. This weight is really light, but when it comes straight after that seated side raise, it gets reasonably heavy, reasonably fast, and it has an extremely good burn on it. I really like this seated press because the way the machine's set up, it seems to get heavier towards the top of the motion, where it's normally very light and easy. I kind of see it as a bit of a accommodating resistance machine in and of itself. So it's a little bit easier on my shoulders at the bottom and heavy at the top. Now, this is one that some of you may not have seen. Now, this is a favourite of John Meadows. So this is for rear delts, but it's very much a partial rear delt movement, as you can see. So you keep your arms practically straight, and you just swing the dumbbells out to the side. Now, obviously this is a vastly reduced range of motion, but it allows you to handle a much heavier weight than you normally could, and it takes your traps and rhomboids out of it altogether. Like, there shouldn't be really any movement at all between your shoulder blades. It should be working exclusively across the shoulder joint and the rear delt head in particular. I think I'm using, I can't remember, 27.5 or 30 kilo dumbbells here. So normally if I was to do a strict rear raise, I'd probably be using, a 10 to 15 kilo dumbbell. So obviously a lot heavier, reduced range of motion, but doing some very high reps, and that sucker burns like crazy. I like to superset it. I superset it with what I call band rear delts because I don't have a better name for it. So I just grab myself a band, and obviously the tension gets greater the closer I get to the contracted position. So I've worked the rear delts, I guess not really in the stretch position, but the beginning of the range of motion, now finishing them off at the end of the range of motion in the contracted position. I feel those two motions complement each other greatly, and I really feel it in my rear delts, and I don't feel really any activation in my traps or rhomboids or anything like that. So I've always found rear delts to be a very difficult muscle group to isolate, and those two movements in particular have helped me a lot. From there, I'll move on to traps. Traps have never come easily to me. I'm not one of these guys who can just bang out a few sets of deadlifts and side raises like Branch Warren and Johnny Jackson and walk around having traps up to my ears. So I normally do traps with shoulders as well as with back. Good old basic barbell shrug. I think a lot of us become enamored with little shrug machines and things like that, and they've certainly got their place. I actually finish off the workout with it. I think nothing beats a good hard barbell shrug. I'm doing a couple sets of this because I wanted to emphasise a few points. When I go a little bit lighter, I like to keep it quite rhythmic. I feel like I can keep the tension on my traps a little bit better by keeping a constant state of motion. So if it's not going down, then the bar's coming up. When I go a little bit heavier, I do adopt a bit more of a stop-start method. I reset at the bottom, and I do get a little bit of body rock going. I feel that traps are one of those muscle groups that you really have to load up heavy. You still have to get a decent range of motion. You know, you see people doing the little 1 centimetre shrugs, but I'm not afraid to jerk the weight up, hold it as best I can at the top position, and then let the weight sort of pull my traps down in the eccentric phase. And just to finish off, I've done my sort of heavy basic stuff. I am using one of those girly little shrug machines that I talked about before. And again, my focus is a little bit different. I'm pausing at the contracted position. Again, not an extremely heavy weight. I like this this machine in particular because you can use a couple of different excuse me, hand grips with it. So I like to do the seated version, which is probably the harder version of the two. And then I just jump up, whack on the Sting wrist straps, and bang out some reps standing up and facing the other direction as well. Slightly different angles, but basically the idea is to just continue the set where it otherwise would have stopped and stimulate the muscle as much as possible. So that was it for my shoulder session for today. Hopefully you can get something out of it.